All right, so today we have a clip that we're going to watch of Cenk of the Young Turks going on Dan Abrams' show on News Nation. Very strange program, I think, for Cenk to go on. It's a centrist program, I would argue. I don't think Dan Abrams is a progressive. I definitely not a conservative, but also would definitely not call him a progressive in any way, shape, or form. Here it is.
Uyghur, who will join us in a moment, is trying to talk common sense to his fellow liberals, pointing out the extreme fringes are dominating the conversation and trying to silence or marginalize the more moderate majority in this country.
So, I wasn't at first going to play any of Dan Abrams talking. I was just going to show you Cenk and what he said. But I actually think that what Dan Abrams just said there is something I want to touch on because I think it's important. He says the extreme fringe, the people that are extremely left, the far left, the extreme left, is trying to silence the moderate majority in the country. And this is something that Emma Vigeland actually said when she responded to this whole controversy on the Majority Report Live. She responded to it. I haven't made a video on that yet. She said that just because it's not popular doesn't mean that we shouldn't fight for it. And she said that popularism in politics is extremely limiting, and it is, and she's 100% right. And she said it better than I did, but I don't think that just because it's the majority that means that it's not the thing that we should be fighting for. Just because it's not popular doesn't mean that we should not be fighting for it, okay?
Much the same way those on the far right fringes do.
It's not the same
Uyghur
thing.
writes, left-wing extremists help right-wing so much. 66% of this country is left-wing, according to polling on policy issues. They don't believe in defunding the police or being called Latinx or calling women birthing people or abolishing prisons. Anyone who claims they do is lying. Now, this is a conversation we've been actively having on this show for more than a year now. So joining us now is Cenk Uyghur, founder and host of the Progressive Young Turks. Cenk, thanks for coming on the program. Really appreciate it. All right. So what is going on here, and why are you getting involved in this?
Yeah. So, Dan, look, we've got a massive problem in the country overall that no one is representing what I call the silent majority, which is about 2/3 of this country that I would argue is indisputably progressive. So I could show you the polling on it, you name it, paid family, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, universal health care, minimum wage, you name it. The country is progressive. The problem is the Democratic Party doesn't represent them because they're the corporate establishment and they represent their donors.
Yeah.
So, well, obviously the Republicans don't represent them. So that just leaves us progressives out here in the wilderness. Well, the problem with the progressive movement now is folks on social media from time to time completely misrepresented. Now, I want to be clear. What I would call the extreme left don't have bad intent. I think the right wing has bad intent. I think it's arguable whether the corporate wings of both parties have bad intent.
But he says, I don't think the extreme left has bad intent. What is the extreme left? Where does the extreme left exist? Maybe outside of what you would call a Twitter bubble. I don't know where this term extreme left came from, other than it came from conservatives. Extreme left is a term that is coined by conservative Republicans, okay? I don't know why Cenk is sitting there saying extreme left. Cenk, what is the extreme left? What is that? He's sitting there talking about how the majority of the country is really progressive, like 60-something% of them are very progressive, stuff like Medicare for All, that's very popular. But then he turns around and says the extreme left, and then something that I just don't hear people talk about this at all, and maybe I just haven't been in the right place, but in like most of Europe, most of the Scandinavian countries, the Democratic Party here, like just the party in and of itself, the actual Democratic Party, would be like on the right, maybe center, but on the right. Like, that's how conservative America is. I don't even know where the Republican Party would be in another country. They would be so far on the right, gone, right? But in other countries, what's what's on the left here, especially when it comes to politics specifically, is not that far left in some other countries, because that's how progressive some other countries are, way more than us. So, you know, I don't disagree with what Cenk is saying in the first part, but then he says the extreme left. What is the extreme left? Again, that's a term that conservatives themselves came up with, okay? And I don't agree with him saying something like that at all, and I never will.
But the extreme left is not helping our situation. So when you've got 2/3 of the country on your side, lean into winning issues. And by the way, trans rights
it's okay.
Is a winning issue. And we've defended trans rights probably longer than any show in American media history.
And again, Cenk, nobody is saying that you guys have not fought for trans issues. TYT has fought for a long time for trans issues, for trans rights. They have covered trans issues and stuff on trans rights for a long, long time. Nobody's denying that. Nobody is denying your tenure doing that. You guys have done a great job, and I'm sure they're going to continue to do a great job. I would hope that they do. Okay? Nobody's denying this. Again, the problem is that you guys are just having such a hard time taking this criticism where there are these people that say, okay, we disagree with you on this, and we think that this take it's kind of coming off like this is how it's coming off to us, and instead of just being like, well, you know, maybe we were wrong, we understand, we hear where everybody's coming from. No, they double down, they're tripling down at this point now, and it just seems like all of this could have been avoided.
Okay, so now when we say something simple like, we're positive women want to be called women and they don't want to be called birthing people or people with uteruses. And by the way, some, like Anna, are actually offended by that. You're not being inclusive, you're being exclusive, and you're choosing to fight on losing ground for no reason when we have all the winning ground in the world.
But again, you know, Cenk's saying that Anna was, you know, can be offended by these terms like birthing person, but he's refusing to accept the fact that the way her original tweet was worded, the way that she originally came out and said what she said, seemed offensive to some. It's the same thing, but you can't, for some reason in this context, have any type of empathy. I don't know why.
So, and Dan, the other problem here is the right wing, when you have someone that agrees with them a little bit, like Chris Rock will take big pot shots at Republican white males, etc., but then he'll agree a little bit on cancel culture, and the right wing will say, that's it, Chris Rock's one of us, right?
Yeah,
on the left
they do
wing,
that.
we have the
That's
exact
right.
opposite situation, where somebody could fight for you for 200 years in a row. The minute they don't agree with the most extreme thing you've ever said, that's it, we're cutting them off. They're right wings, they're fascists, they're transphobes, etc.
Yeah.
We got to win elections so we can protect the LGBTQ community and all of us.
Again, most of what he said there, I agree with. Again, it's when he starts getting into the, you know, it's not, again, I don't even need to say it anymore, but I'm going to say it one last time. Hopefully we can put this to rest. It's not the fact that, you know, that you guys said it. It's the fact that you continued to double down on it, and you continued to keep saying, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm not going to apologize, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. You guys can't disagree with me. This is how I feel about it. I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care. I'm just going to push back on whatever people are disagreeing with me on. I'm going to call out other leftists. That is where I start to take an issue with what is being said. But again, most of a lot of the things he said there, I can't say I disagree with. But that's going to be it for the video. If you guys like the video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want to see more videos like this. And guys, please tell me what you thought about this. And also, for those of you that have stayed this long, I just want to make a quick little note about this. I am not making these videos for clout. I've seen a couple comments, actually a lot of comments, of people saying that I'm trying to gain clout by making these videos. If I was trying to gain clout for anything, I wouldn't be sitting here making political content. I'm just being honest. I am just kind of, in reality, if I'm being completely honest, blown away by what's been happening with Cenk and the Young Turks and all of this lately. I really am. But again, that's going to be it for the video. Like the video, subscribe, press that bell. See you guys later.